learn more, you earn more. It is time for another episode of Ask Pat, where Downing-Frye Realty's Director of Corporate Training helps you become more productive, professional, and profitable in your real estate career. Please welcome Pat Pitocchi and Cindy Woolley.
Hi, I'm Pat Pitocchi, and today we're trying something new. We're asking you for 5 minutes to be in the know. I've asked Christian if he would speak about something that really has come up in this frenetic market, pre and post closing occupancies. We never dealt with them before, but Christian, post closing occupancies really can pose some issues. Can you tell us about those, please?
Of course, and thanks for having me, Pat. So I recently was practicing law in Georgia, and we always used to say that, it's just the nice Georgian thing to do, to give the seller a couple days to stay in the house after closing. It's not like that right now. Right now, it's almost something that the seller is negotiating simply because they think it's a free ask, that they can get it by just asking for it. The buyer says yes, just because it doesn't seem like it's any money out of their pocket. But I will warn you, there are landmines when you do these post-closing occupancies, and they start with nothing is free. So the hypothetical that I would propose to you is the closing happens, the seller's still in the property for 30 days after closing, and all of a sudden there's an HOA bill for that month or a condo bill. And the buyer's like, wait a second, I still have to pay this? Or there's a water bill that comes in that's paid through the condo association, or the property tax bill is due, or something along that. Or even worse, something breaks. And inevitably, buyers always think the seller's supposed to pay for that, and the seller always thinks the buyer's supposed to pay for it. Doesn't it sound right, Pat?
Absolutely.
It's a little messy, and so I was going to share the form. This is the NABOR form. Do I have it? I don't know if I have it. All right, so it's not letting me share it very easily, and I apologize for that. But the NABOR form has a couple of options on here where, one, you state the date that it's good through. So 30 days, 60 days, is that kind of what you're seeing, Pat?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So we put, 30 days from closing, and then there's a fee, an occupancy of blank. This is another landmine. Pat, what are you typically seeing on fees for these occupancies? Are they zero, or are they some sort of market rent?
We're seeing about 50-50, Christian. Some are zero, some are negotiated as part of the package. And when particularly in this frenetic market, sellers sometimes need a little bit of time.
They do, and
either zero or maybe 2,000 or 3,000 seems to be the most common.
Right, exactly. A couple $1,000s, something to cover, and really, I would just make sure that whatever your client decides to accept or to propose under that number, that they understand the consequences of it. If you put zero, just realize the seller will only be responsible for utilities. And then the other thing on this form, and hats off to NABOR on this one, the escrow amount. So this form includes an amount for escrow. Now, if we were doing a traditional lease, you would obviously have a security deposit. But on a lot of these post-closing occupancy forms, they don't include a security deposit. NABOR's does, and I really like that. So hats off to NABOR in that regard. So money will be held at closing. Whatever fee you put on that first line is going to be paid at closing, which is also very nice. Occupancy shall be limited to blank persons and the following pets. I love that. Pat, I'll tell you, we had a scenario where it was $1 million sale and the seller was in the property for the whole summer after closing. Then they invited their kids from college to come back into the house for the whole summer. And then the pets that the kids had were coming back into the house, and the mom and dad got a brand new puppy. And the buyers are there just pulling their hair out, So angry. Well, on the neighbor form, it actually requires that it put an occupancy on there. Then if we keep going down, it talks about the seller's responsible for utilities. This is a hot topic because utilities are what you think they are. It's water, it's gas, it's electric, cable maybe. It's not the HOA dues. It's not the property taxes, things like that. So if you need it to be that, we're going to have to do something extra in the other terms and conditions.
Right.
If we keep going down, if seller fails to vacate the property as of the date required above, seller shall pay to buyer additional occupancies of blank per day until the date of seller's vacation of the property. So this is what they would normally call a holdover rate. A holdover is you've passed your time period to leave. Now you're going to pay. And then it doubles after day 3. So there are some real things, but there are landmines here. And if you have a very picky client, whether it's the buyer or the seller, I might even recommend you just do a standard lease. If it's long-term, do a lease. If you have a mortgage, call us because there are restrictions on when there's a mortgage. But I just want to bring this up. Don't think it's easy just because it's a one-page form. This is a pretty big issue right now.
Right. We do put a lot of time. I sit on the committee that drafts the forms. We do, I'm going to say, debate quite a number of items with each form. But I think it's very important. There are, as Christian said, liability issues. There are also cost issues, fee issues, and unintended activities. So please make sure if you're going to get involved in that, or your customer is, that you consult with Christian so that you make sure that the post-closing occupancy and the sales contract itself have terms that are appropriate, complete, and cover everyone in terms of liability. So I think that's a great suggestion, Christian. And the magic here is you cannot do anything that does not exist in writing. So communication is really the lifeblood of real estate. And what ends up happening is, as Christian said, the seller thinks I get everything or I do anything I want. The buyer thinks the same. And when in doubt, we go to the realtor who gets the blame for getting whatever. Make sure that you bring up all these items Christian mentioned, and make sure that you give a consultation, give them a call when you think that's going to be in play. 5 minutes to save your life and to help you earn more by learning more so that you avoid the pitfalls. Thank you so much, Christian. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Pat. Good luck, everybody.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Ask Pat. You can learn more at Downing-Frye.com and make sure to follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn.